Welcome to DJ
Make una come hear wetin Adams Oshomiole talk about Tinubu administration.
My correct people, we greet una. Welcome una to DJMTV, una WhatsApp channel wey dey sama una with ogbonge updates, breaking news, updated updates. So abeg my people, if you never subscribe to our YouTube channel, make una rush now, make una go subscribe o, and also turn on that notification bell so that anytime we be like say we drop any update like this, una go dey notified gbanga. Our Facebook page, my people, make una follow us and make una dey like. Una do well. Anyway, my people, make we quickly run enter the tori and update we will carry come for una like this.
Yes, so my people, Adams Oshomiole wey be the former governor of Edo State, wey be senator now, he don talk concerning Tinubu administration. Na inside the interview wey he do with Shehu of Chinese television yesterday, wey be Sunday, na him for talk o. Him talk say Tinubu no be magician, say Tinubu no fit do magic, say make Nigeria take am the way wey don take dey rule dey go, say everything go better. My people, this video wey I go play for una so e long, but una need to watch am reach the end and hear wetin Adams Oshomiole talk for inside. My people, make una watch.
A sitting member of the National Assembly, Senator Adams Oshomiole. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, my brother Shehu. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin the conversation around the issue of palliatives.
Yes.
When Nigerians thought that things were, it got bad when it was the price of petrol was over 500 naira during the week, it now went as far as 617 naira. But up to now, we still do not know in specifics and when the issue of palliatives will be rolled out. With the way and manner things are going with a lot of Nigerians, those who will probably feel very disturbed and pained that they are paying so much now with the monies that is not really available. What do you think is the immediate measure as a sitting lawmaker to alleviate the pains of the Nigerian people?
Well, I'm just going to speak my opinion. You know, first, issue of implementation of a policy is that of the executive. I think we have approved a palliative package as requested by the executive, and they have a couple of conversations as to, you know, what is the best way to administer it. About 500 billion. I guess the challenge, I use the word guess. I think the challenge the government is facing is the usual stuff of not having a reliable data. Not many Nigerians believe that the data that was used by the previous administration, you know, was reliable. And as much as you want to rush to treat a patient, you don't want to throw the medication at the wrong person. And you want to ensure that there's a measure of accountability and that money paid out can be verified and real human beings can lay claim. Particularly when you take into account the fact that even in the formal sector, you do have challenges year after year of ministers of finance telling us about ghost workers and stuff like that. Like you, I don't think anybody, including the president, I think he's anxious to have this money out. He's not accruing any interest to government, certainly not to the president. I'm sure he will want to get the targeted beneficiaries to begin to collect whatever it is that is due to them. Now, in the formal sector, I think there should be no reason why that cannot be done quickly. Those in the employment sector, whether public service, employed by federal government, or those employed by state governments, and even those employed by private sector employers. I think that is a lot easier to handle, and it can be handled at two phases. You can give an urgent stopgap. Take this now, without prejudice, while we continue conversation in terms of the long-term sustainable solution to deal with a reality that we have come to accept. As for the up and down of the prices, it goes without saying that when you deregulate and you withdraw subsidy, when you deregulate and you subject a product to market forces, it has to go up and down. The challenge in Nigeria, however, is the fact that we are managing with two difficult unstable variables. The real devil, in my view, is the exchange rate. Now, if the exchange rate, if we can't find a way to stabilize it, if it goes up and down, then anything that has imported content, the price should also go up and down. But if it just keep going down, then of course it simply means that anything with imported content will keep going up in terms of price. So we have to achieve some stability. The monetary authorities need to revisit whatever tools are available to bring some stability to the naira, or at least if they cannot get it to appreciate, they should get some, develop appropriate tools to achieve a level of stability. Since we have abolished, since we have abolished the dual exchange rate. The other is the fact that oil price changes, but those changes don't occur overnight. We all monitor. It can increase by 2 cents, it can decrease by 3 cents, it can drop by $1, it can increase by $2. But between the time the increase takes place and when the product gets to the refining process and all of that, so I think there is something that government needs to pay attention to, such that because we are not really yet having a competitive market as far as petroleum product is concerned. NNPC is still a dominant, if not a dangerous, monopoly player. And monopolies, we pass on their inefficiencies. I'm not suggesting that what has happened, but I'm saying that the way to prevent producers of services from bidding in their own impurities into a price is to ensure a truly competitive market. So if you are inefficient, if you are corrupt, if you pad up your procurement process, if your throughput is inefficient, and therefore your output is cost much more than your competitors, you just fall out of the market. But unfortunately for now, because of the basic infrastructure required, including huge cash required, I guess NNPC still have a fair, or rather an unfair monopoly in terms of providing the services. And that is why it is the MD who are talking about market forces. A true market doesn't have one operator.
Let me ask you quickly. I mean, one would think, and this is perhaps the conversation that the major candidates during the campaigns are talked about. President Tinubu, VP Atiku, and Mr. Peter Obi all talked about removal of subsidy and the fact that it needs to go. But a lot of people were imagining, and as your government, the APC, had said that you were prepared for this. And the president had said, I asked for this job. You voted me in. Let me do this job. So it comes with a thinking that there was a preparation for this. But it looks like the way and manner your critics are taking this, it doesn't look like the government already have a thought-out plan on some of these issues. If this is an agenda that was going to happen should you win the election, why is it taking a long time to be able to fix the pains of Nigerians based on the policy of government?
No, sure, you have to be fair. The fact that a doctor is committed to treating a patient and he really claims to knowing the nature of the disease that afflicts the patient doesn't mean that as soon as you wheel the patient into the theater, a solution emerges. I think President Tinubu has shown commitment. He withdrew the subsidy, proceeded to say, one of the things I will have to do is to adjust wages in the formal sector, and the other one is to appropriate some funds that we will pay to the most vulnerable people. Those most vulnerable people are not necessarily wage earners. In fact, there's a school of thought that thinks that wage earners are relatively privileged compared to those who are not even sure of tomorrow's pay. So I do not think I am shocked that between the time he made the pronouncement and now, there is no clear-cut. The one that is straightforward, in my view, is dealing with the formal sector. I think it's possible for the president to decide that next month, every worker in the employment of the federal government shall earn extra, and direct the finance ministry or the head of service to say, from next month, effect X level of tax cut. I believe that is possible, but only in the short run. In the long run, the conversation needs to take place because we are in a democracy. The president cannot decree on matters that affect the other social partner when it comes to employment. It must carry on board the labor unions. It must also, for this purpose, as much as possible, carry on board the private sector employers because that's what we call neighborhood effect. If you work for federal government and I work for Channels Television and my pay is going up as a federal employee and yours is static, there will be some instability in the system. But I believe that those involved in this process must understand, and I believe they do understand, that it is not something that they have unlimited time to deal with. It's important that it is dealt with expeditiously and that the workers have their pay packet improved substantially.
To what extent do you think
nobody
that
dispute the increase? The other one that I believe government could do immediately, but even at that, the solution will not be here immediately, is to decide, and I believe that decision is inevitable. We are going to deal with the supply side with regards to impact on price. You can't avoid having to procure purpose-built mass transit buses across the country to carry not just workers, to carry all commuters, regardless of where they work.
Is it for free?
No, it doesn't have to be free. The operating way is what is affordable. What we are dealing with now is not the fact that petrol is not free. It is that it's costing more than it used to cost, and as a consequence, there are multiplier. It has its own multiplier effect on other prices. That's what we are dealing with. I don't think anybody is asking for something that is free. So, but you can affect price by improving on supply. So now, I guess part of the problem now is that if those who are involved in the transport sector are taking undue advantage of the increase in price, as if price is the only cost element in transportation. For example, if the price has increased by 100%, then they are increasing prices of transportation by 100%. That is not exactly a correct way to calculate the numbers, because fuel is just one of the input. There are other things that determine what a passenger should pay, if he buys a car. But if you have scarcity and you have few operators who manipulate the market, then of course anybody can hide under the guise of the increase and mark up prices in a manner that might be unfair, leaving people with no choice but to try to cover the money.
And I'd like to ask you, Senator, I don't know what is going on in the minds of majority of Nigerians. Some of those who voted your party, maybe they didn't envisage this level of pain. And no gainsaying the fact that where there is pain sometimes, where there is gain sometimes, there must be pain. But the level and the manner in which things have gone in the past weeks, do you think for a moment that some of your support base are perhaps having a rethink about their support for your party and for your candidates?
That is your views.
No, I'm asking. It's a question.
No.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, you're asking the question. Yeah. Nobody who wishes to promise you a pair of suit, if elected, and he haven't yet have access to the fabric, will, upon election, just deliver you a pair of suit. Unless it is custom made, and in which case he has all your details, fabric is ready, he has actually prepared it. So there is no government that will cough out within 24 hours a sustainable solution. I have seen people even arguing, even those who are concerned about the need to deliver this relief, arguing that going to give people 8,000 naira or 10,000 naira, they do not think that the data are reliable and that it will not be fair to use data that are not reliable. If government has to listen to such, those are also critics. They want money paid out, but they want government to be careful not to pay to the wrong people. or not to have it pocketed. I watched a program the other day where a lady, to my shock, tried to explain how they have to deal with these social safety net conditional cash transfer under the previous administration. She described herself as a focal person in one of the states. And she said people bring cash from Abuja and they meet with some persons and then they go out and they distribute the cash. I don't think a state should operate like that because this is taxpayers' money. It's not good enough to having good intention or the father to care is not a reason why you wouldn't account for the resources made available and to convince the man or the authority providing the resources that it was delivered to the targeted group. And the way she explained it shows that a lot of money, in my view, must have gone to wrong hands. You don't want to repeat that.
But it's 56
but
days.
What is possible for
the announcement?
What is possible? Let me explain this. For the private sector and for the public sector, the organized sector, once government recognizes that from the day its prices changed, it has had negative impact on cost of living, there is a compelling argument to say, don't delay this process too long. If you do, you will have to pay us arrears to compensate for what we have lost. And for me, it's a powerful argument. It's the argument behind any form of arrears that is paid anywhere in the world. And even for those who are in the unorganized sector, and their case is a bit more problematic. I listened to the governor of Kaduna State who expressed concerns, which is shared by some of the governors, about how can they rely on the last figures. And to be honest, that argument is valid. Are we assuming that nobody has died? They have a lot of criminal activities, bandits, people have relocated, new IDP cab have emerged, and so on and so forth. But also, are we does this solve the problem? We have to try to fix it. Is that from Obasanjo's time to Yaradua, to Jonathan, to Buhari, and now to Tinubu, this issue of reliable national identity card, billions have been spent, even the name that you have to be able to activate your phone, all of that, yet we don't have credible national data. I think a government has to get that fixed one day. If we have that now, for example, then this can be done. The only point I want to make here, I've had people saying, what would 8,000 do? What would 10,000 do? Well, if you earn so much, you may not know the value of 8,000 or 10,000. For those who are completely socially excluded, 10,000 is a lot. And even in US, during the coronavirus, they cash transfers to people, including Nigerians who are American citizens, who were not even within the territory of America at the time, who are in Nigeria. They got their checks transferred to their bank account. So there's nothing wrong with it. The challenge we have, unfortunately, is this issue of endless lamentation about not having reliable data.
But my question initially is the worry of those who impose their trust in the Tinubu ticket, who thought that when Tinubu gets into
they know they were not electing a magician.
You did not tell them you are not.
No. They know they are not electing a magician.
Your party
and nobody promised
agenda.
Nobody promised magical solution.
Yeah, your party said you have renewed hope. Let me give you an example of things that have happened.
You don't need to give me an example.
I'll give you an example of
what we promised more than you who was reporting it. Whatever you reported was, we were the source.
Yeah, but the fact
we did not promise 24 hours solution.
You remember?
We did not promise miracles.
Schools.
We did not promise overnight solution. But nobody said this will be done.
Days,
and you show me if you have any document that says in 48 hours, this will be done. In 14 days, this will be done. In 21 days, this will be done.
Are you saying that the hopes and the expectations of Nigerians?
I think you are the one who have the illusion that once a promise is made, automatically once you get into office, either spiritually or by miracles, solutions emerge.
The fact we are...
What Nigeria need is what President President Tinubu has demonstrated. The courage to make decisions, to be humble enough to admit some of the unintended consequences of those decisions.
Yes, so my people, and the updates people carry confidence like this one. Now, here we see Oshomiole dey talk. I wanna see this whole matter and reason. And make una drop on a comment, and make una not forget to like and share. DJ